So if you love the idea of a sleek, sexy and somewhat small looking iron, but you also have the potential to hit it like this, oh, then one of these irons could be absolutely perfect for you, and today we're going to be finding out which one is better. So we're jumping straight into performance, but before we do, quick look at the specs of these two clubs. We've got them both set at the standard lofts, which for the Apex Pro is 33 degrees, and for the T150 is 32 degrees. But we've got them both playing 61.5 degree lie angles, or pretty much bang on 61.5. Both playing exactly the same shaft, which is a Modus 120 stiff. And obviously we've got them exactly the same length and exactly the same swing weight. So pretty much a fair test as we can possibly make it. Okay, so we're jumping into the performance section, and first up we've got the Apex Pro. So mainly talking good strikes in this section. We're going to be talking about forgiveness a little bit later, but the performance of the head, mainly on good strikes. What did we see? Now, again, pretty traditionally lofted at 33 degrees, so this isn't really a complete power bat. I'm not going to expect it to go absolutely miles. However, with the hollow body construction, that little bit more pop, it really gets out there. And I must say, I did really enjoy hitting this iron. It really is a pleasure to hit. Again, we'll touch on sound and feel a little bit more later, but really enjoyed hitting it. The ball flight that we saw from it, in terms of, for me, the launch and spin, peak height, angle of descent, the overall ball flight, really good, really happy with it. Pretty much exactly what I would expect to see from this kind of iron, this head design, this loft. You could quite easily game those numbers, like absolutely no question about that at all. And all round just really good. Again, we'll touch on forgiveness more, but even when I hit like slight little miss hits, which aren't really fully in the forgiveness section, still really impressive. Spin retention, ball speed retention, everything all round the performance of this head. Honestly, really impressive for this category of iron at this loft. Comfortably would give it a 9 out of 10 in my books. So what about the T150 then from a performance perspective? Again, must say, thoroughly enjoyed hitting the iron. We'll touch on sound and feel more later. 32 degrees of loft this, so slightly stronger in loft. So we might expect to see a little bit more pop from the head. And again, we'll see very soon if we did or not. But similar thing, ball flight that I expect to see from this head design and this loft, we did see good launch, good spin, peak height, angle of descent, absolutely no problems. Again, similar to the Apex Pro, the retention even on slight miss hits, very impressive. Again, more in-depth forgiveness in a minute, but very impressive. Overall, the performance, again, of this head, comfortably matching Apex Pro. I couldn't really say, again, we're going to see the numbers in a second and you'll see what I mean. I couldn't really say one way or the other it was way better or way worse. Just as impressive, again, for this sort of head design and shape and size. Again, comfortable 9 out of 10. So performance numbers at my normal swing speed. First of all, if we bring up the dispersion map of the green, we can see how ridiculously close the performance and dispersion of these heads has been throughout this entire test. About 80 shots I hit there. Super close. And if we dive into the numbers, we can see just how close it actually was. T150, a little bit more ball speed. Again, would agree with that. I'm taking note of every single shot I hit. I'm looking at the numbers to see what it does. I think about 1 mile an hour more out of the T150 is bang on, but super close. Launch, we see a tiny bit less from the T150, averaging 16 and 16.5 at the Apex Pro. Again, a little bit less launch from the T150, but marginal. Spin, we see a similar thing, just marginal, a little bit more spin from the T150. Again, would agree with that, but a couple hundred revs, if that. I mean, it's so close. Even the peak height and angle of descent of these on average, identical. 103 peak height, 47 descent, identical. Carry, we can see 1 yard. Dispersion, we know, super tight. I mean, realistically, the performance, the ball speed, the launch, the spin, how these clubs are going to fly, the distance that they go, they're really just unbelievably close. So after that data analysis, you can see exactly what I mean from the performance of these heads. Unbelievably close, but both amazing. For this sort of head, this loft, this design, like super impressive, amazing. So now what I'm going to do is show you a couple of swings just at a slower swing speed, and then we'll have a little look at the data from a slower swing speed Trying to make this video a bit shorter, so maybe just one shot with each and then a little bit of that data analysis from that slower swing speed. So performance numbers at a slower swing speed, and the swing speed was about 78 miles per hour. To be exact, the Apex Pro I swung at 77.9 and the T150 77.6, so 0.3 of a mile an hour difference between these two swing speeds. And the data behind me pretty much kind of proves my point as to why it's a little bit pointless having two different swing speeds in these tests, because it's exactly the same as what we saw with my swing speed. No difference in these heads. Absolutely none. Ball speed, same, 105. Launch, same, 17.5. Backspin, same, 57. Distance, same, 144 carry. Peak height and the angle of a descent was like 1 feet in it. Like, these heads are basically identical in performance. They really are. I mean, you could argue, but what about launch and spin and height? It's going to be different for different swing speeds. Granted, however, that's a very small part of the equation. For this data set, my delivery into the ball, my angle of attack was 5 down, which most people at this swing speed probably aren't going to be swinging 5 down. Path was 3 in, 2 out. Face was a little bit closed on average to the path. If you might swing 7 degrees out to in and 1 down. So even if the swing speed is exactly the same as mine here, the numbers you would produce from these heads will be completely different. So therefore you might fit into another head way better. So that's my point about swing speed. The delivery matters just as much, if not more, than speed alone. But the one thing that this does do in this test, which is great, is just kind of clarify that there really is no difference in the performance of these heads. Again, how ridiculously close. It's just these heads, like performance-wise, yeah, unbelievably similar. Right, so that's good ones mainly. So let's take a look at some bad ones and see how the forgiveness of these heads stack up against each other. Yeah, that was very heely. Actually a pretty decent ball flight, to be fair. It's actually done really well. Yes, extremely low heel. Drop off, 175 carry from that strike. I'll take that. Ouch. Oh, that one actually really hurt. I mean, what a result, to be fair. I literally nearly missed the face on that one. Look at that strike. Oh boy. I mean, again, 165 carry from that. Okay, yeah, we've probably lost 20 odd yards, but again, I literally nearly missed the face. So for a head of this profile, this design, the forgiveness is genuinely probably far beyond what most people would expect from this head. That was very low heel. Again, the ball flight's actually decent. Still nearly carried 170. Let's have a look at that strike. Yeah. Woo! That was almost a hosel rocket, and to be fair, I've hit a few so far. Again, basically 170, decent ball flight. Actually didn't feel that bad, felt pretty good. Again, forgiveness of that from a low heel, really good. Let's test this toe. Oh, yep, that was extremely toey. Again, not even on the face, 100%. My right hand is, yeah, sore from that one. Look at that strike. But again, heel side, toe side, really, I mean, you can't expect that much if you literally miss the face, but even that from this sort of head, it's pretty damn forgiving, and actually very much, again, on par with a T150. So I have said this a few times in previous videos, but the forgiveness, even of smaller headed models now, like the difference between these and like your bigger, chunkier sort of game improvement or player's distance irons genuinely is not that different. Honestly, like the drop off front to back that you get, the forgiveness, again, of both of these heads, especially for the kind of profile and the shape and the look, I'm giving them both a 10 out of 10. Like, it's just so unbelievably impressive, better than you would think. Go and test them, and if you can quantify it in this environment where you can actually see swing speed and strike and power, face power, everything is quantifiable. Honestly, like, incredible. Even as a sort of mid to high handicappers, I wouldn't even worry about playing an iron like this. Honestly, really, they're both incredible. Time to touch on sound and feel, so let's jump in and see how these heads compare. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to give the Apex Pro a 7.7 out of 10. It is hollow body, so we're never going to expect it to have that real dull, muted sound and feel like a fully forged, blade or cavity back iron. But for a hollow body construction iron, it does an amazing job. Sounds good, feels really good. Easy 7.7 out of 10 for me on the sound and feel. And yeah, the T150, oh, it's so close. I'm going to give this an 8.0 out of 10. I'm just going to edge it. Obviously, half hollow body construction probably feels a little tiny bit more towards that fully forged blade feel than the Apex Pro. Just a smidge, a little bit more solid, a little bit more dull and muted, but I'm talking a tiny bit. And I will throw in the caveat that Callaway are saying with some of the fitting heads they've sent out, there's a slight issue with the epoxy, so the actual heads will sound and feel a little bit duller. And if that is the case, then it will be closer to this. But in this specific test, I'm going to edge it to the 150 just. Okay, so looks then, Apex Pro, obviously that hollow body design, so more of that flush look at the back. They've kind of tried to make it like a little bit of a cavity with that almost little bit of a cutout there where the Callaway logo is, but still really more of a flush design than the T150. A bit almost bulby though is what I will say. Almost looks like it comes out and around at the back, like a bit bulby, which, I mean, I don't love. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And obviously the T150, far more just your traditional cavity back iron, undercut cavity design, nice clean Titleist logo on the back. Really, really clean looking iron that. So from the back for me, T150 just pips it down by the ball. Yeah, T150 straight away stands out as a little bit of a smaller top line, little bit of a smaller profile, little bit less offset. The Apex Pro, a more rounded toe section, where the Titleist a bit more of a square to edgy toe section. But I think for me personally, just with the 150 looking like a little bit of a smaller footprint, tiny, not much in it, but a little bit of a smaller footprint, little bit of a smaller top line and a little bit less offset. Again, the 150 down by the ball just takes it for me personally. Sole width and design actually really doesn't look like anything at all in the sole width of these two irons. The design-wise, obviously both are really going down that turf interaction story this year. Titleist with the Vokey team getting involved in designing the soles and making sure that they're really, really efficient through the turf, that the turf interaction is good as can be. And same story really with the Callaway, incorporating more of their wedge style into the irons, pre-worn leading edge, trail edge relief. Again, turf interaction, a big story with both, but from the sole size, look and all of that, that's pretty much on par there. So how unbelievably and incredibly close are those heads? Literally just pick the one you like the look of the most and play that, because the performance just all round these heads, incredibly close, but both fantastic irons. So thank you so much for watching. If you're enjoying the videos, please like, please do subscribe, please stay tuned. If you want to see how that Apex Pro performed against MB and CB, then we've got a super in-depth head-to-head video up here of that now. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one.